Hey guys, we're here with Luke in the This Is My Story series. We've had a great time with this and we're excited for tonight. Luke and I are here with our hats on backwards, coming to you just to share a little bit about what God has done and what God is doing in Luke's life. One more time, let me just help you realize and discover and believe, I don't know what word to use, that there is a direct connection between your life right now and what you will experience when you're Luke's age and my age. And honestly, guys, it is an adventure. God is faithful. We know that. But what happens matters. The choices we make matter. So without any further ado, we're going to jump into Luke's life. All right, Luke, thanks for coming.
Yeah, dude.
We just want to know a little bit about your background. You are now 31 years old.
Correct.
And we want to know a little bit about the early years of Luke and what that was like. Tell us about your family. Tell us about the home you grew up in, maybe where you grew up, stuff like that.
Young Luke. All right. So 31, man, it comes quick. But so I grew up not too far from here, Montrose, and good family, you know. Had two parents who were pretty awesome. I don't have too much to complain about. Christian family. So from the jump, I was in church, you know, as long as I can remember. It's like a lot of days, right? You got Wednesday nights, you're there, Sunday mornings. And I grew up Pentecostal.
Okay.
It's a little different, and it's a little crazy.
A little different shade than what probably many of us are used to, right?
Yes. So, you know, we had Sunday night service where the magic happened. And I'm just kidding about that per se, but good things happen. But yeah, it was a special service, and so it was a little different. So I was just in church from the jump, you know what I mean? And so growing up that way, was exciting. I had great parents to just guide me through it. You don't even know that you have great parents until you get older. It was just my reality. It was just my worldview, right? And so, I took for granted stuff, I'd say, but when you're a kid, it's just your upbringing.
That's your life, right?
So it was great. Dirt road. Grew up kind of country, I would say, in a way, the best way I knew how. Two brothers. Got an older brother, I got a younger brother, makes me the middle child. Middle children are the best looking, we're the smartest, we're the funniest.
If you don't believe you, just ask you.
Right, it's science, right? If you think about it. But that was always interesting. I had an older brother to beat me up, you know, that helped me grow some toughness. A younger brother that I could beat up, so that gave me some confidence. So
Very
it was
good.
important. But no, it was good. We have a great relationship still to this day. My older brother's around. My younger brother lives in Turkey.
Really? What is he doing in Turkey, just real quick?
Yeah, he's doing some, he runs a refugee center with his wife. He's got two kids. So yeah, he's running a refugee center over there, helping whatever, Iraqis, Iranis, Turkish people, it's Syrians, lots of people like that, just trying to make a difference that way. So I've been over there twice, visited him, seen what he did. So it's really cool what they're doing, and everything is pretty amazing. And
nice.
So, yeah, very proud, and everything. So it's been cool. So I had him, but growing up, you know, young me, we had a lot of fights, we had arguments, we had different things like. It made me stubborn, I think, at times, but also gave me toughness. So I fought with my older brother a lot. I remember one day being in my bedroom. I had an N64. It's old.
Love it.
Kids
Love
don't know
I know,
about,
they
you know, all those good games like GoldenEye and Donkey Kong 64 and the original Mario Kart.
Yes.
You know? So the good stuff. But I was playing on my tube TV in my bedroom, and my brother came in, wanted to play. I had the controller, and he wanted to play. I wouldn't let him. It was my controller. I remember distinctly getting punched in the back until tears were flowing down my face, but thinking, you will never get this controller off of me. And so that was kind of, you know, just little things. But also they became close as we got older.
Sure.
It took a little bit, but eventually we got there. And so that's a little bit of like the family orientation. Obviously it's deeper, but that's kind of how I grew up. It was good relationships, good family. And everything, and so enjoyable childhood. Didn't even know it till, you know, didn't know what a bad childhood looked like growing up.
That's interesting.
So
That's
it was
interesting.
really good. Yeah.
What did little Luke first want to be?
I would say like obviously really little. It changes as you go.
Oh yeah.
Little me. I think wanted to be like a firefighter. I really did. You know, liked fire, grew up in the country, playing with fire was
Yes.
a cool thing to do. Burned my eyebrows off twice.
Well, they've grown back nicely.
Appreciate you saying that, man. I do like my eyebrows. So, yeah, firefighter initially really little. As I got older, it's kind of a weird trait, but I got into fish. It's weird now I think about it.
Like fishing or?
More like fish tanks. You know what I mean?
All right.
Yeah,
all
they became
right.
my pets. So
Very good.
I can't say I'm proud now. Looking back at 31-year-old thinks 18, 17-year-old looks a little weird.
All right.
But that was so marine biology kind of hit.
Okay.
About going, as like, when you start to think about what you want to be and you're old enough and you're going through things, that kind of hit. But then as I got to get out of and really make a decision senior year-ish, actually doing ministry became a part of my journey. And that was linked to some mentors, different people, and just obviously God's call in different ways and the way he tugged on my heart. And so that eventually became a big thing that I wanted to be as I went through high school.
Let's walk it back a little bit. Middle school.
Okay.
6th, 7th, 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
What in the world are you like?
Awkward.
Okay.
I'm a little awkward at that point, you know. Girls, they hit the radar, right?
So were they scary or were you just hardcore interested?
Both, probably.
All right,
Probably more scary than I was. I was interested, but too afraid to say anything. I grew up homeschooled till 6th grade.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that.
So then you found out there were girls out there.
Yes, I forgot, you know.
I'm just kidding.
I was home, churning butter and stuff. So it's pretty sick. No, I'm just kidding. But I wasn't, but I might have been. But so till 6th grade, that's when I went to Central Baptist Christian Academy. So I didn't crazy upgrade, straight public school, couldn't throw me in the deep water, but
All right.
I went to school. I went to like a school, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my experience there a lot. So, but that's where I discovered, girls, little more. So I was probably socially awkward. I don't know. I felt good. I talked to my cousins. It was cool. So it was good. But yeah. So girls probably hit the map, and I was just trying to figure that identity a little bit, trying to like navigate who I was, the friendship and trying to be cool inside of the setting of impressing your friends, adapting to the things they like. So you're kind of trying to find your identity a little bit in there while also adjusting your identity to fit your friend group.
I hear that.
So a struggle mostly, I would say, probably, because there's so much going on. There's so many things that you're finally growing. You're finally critically thinking, I think, well for the first time, and so that creates a little bit of a rift at home because I wasn't as compliant because I'm thinking for myself.
You're starting to question the things that are happening at home. Why are they happening? Why those choices?
Exactly, like parents. And then that creates a little tension between my family, because I grew up, I was sheltered in ways, like they were strict, right? Couldn't watch Power Rangers or Rugrats.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so
Stay away from those.
Yeah, that was my reality, man. So bad Luke was sneaking away to watch Captain Planet. If you even know what that is. So
he's a hero. He's going to take pollution down to zero, if I remember correctly.
That's how I'm going to sit, right there.
There you go.
Captain Planet. But so with that being, and they're strict, and they're trying to, like, what happened to the little kid who, like, what happened to you? Some of that was at home, trying to, but also wanting the attention and wanting to make your parents proud. And so, like, you still have that, but you're also trying to impress your friends. So it's a battle. I mean, that middle school is a tough road to walk down and to figure out. I think the big thing is identity of who you want to become as you grow. And I don't even think you're aware that that's what's happening, but it is.
Now, while that's all going on, you're taking classes, you're going to school. What kind of student are you?
Yeah. Good for the most part, because I don't want my parents upset, I would say, mostly. I'm a little goofy. I goof off. I'm a goofy guy, so I goofed off with friends a lot. I wasn't perfect, but luckily I was smart enough. I think I adjusted and smart enough that I could get away with it. I was probably lazy in ways, skating through with pretty decent grades, not applying myself completely, but nobody's really noticing that because I'm getting good enough grades.
Maybe not a great thing to do, but probably fairly normal.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Were athletics?
Yeah, Christian school. So you have two options.
You made the team.
You always make the team and get the participation ribbon every time, which is exciting. Basketball and soccer are your only options.
Okay.
All right, that's what you got. I would have loved other things. That's what I got. So middle school, if you're asking, that was soccer time. Terrible at it. Still don't like it. If you like, I'm sorry. Like, it's not my thing. All right. Still don't like it to this day. But basketball was my niche. I still love it. I still try to play. I was fairly good I'm not bragging. Those were the glory days. Fairly good for the competition that I played against.
All right.
So
Very good.
Yeah. Fun times though.
And you carried that on into high school, played sports?
Yes, middle school to high school, both. I played soccer in middle school and then quit because I didn't like it and I wanted to focus more on some basketball. So stuck with basketball all the way through high school and whatnot, and really enjoyed my time there.
Let's chase a couple things from middle school into high school. You talked about becoming aware of girls in middle school, and then also really trying to find your identity, and you're trying to see, do I have a center of gravity with these guys or with these guys, or what? As you got into high school, how did that adjust or change or maybe even intensify for you, along with, tell us a little bit about the girl pursuit or not in high school?
Sure, it all ties together, I think. That's probably a pretty normal journey for people in ways, like with girls and friend groups and identity and everything. So your friend groups shape a lot of who you are. I think it would be different. I'll be like, try to figure out, I didn't go to a public school, so I want to make it aware that like my journey is just unique to me. I don't know what it would be like in this school of tons of options. You're kind of stuck in this small little place. And so I eventually did, as I got older. I think my first girlfriend asked me to date, and I was like, sure, whatever. It's, before phones, so we actually wrote letters, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Crazy. I didn't get a cell phone until senior year of high school. Sick flip phone though.
You got a hand cramp, not a thumb cramp.
Facts.
Yes.
Yes, facts. So writing letters, you know what I mean? Trying to pursue them the best I could, but so awkward in doing so. Guys take a long time to mature, I think. If students here are journeying through that, I feel for them because it is a tough journey for dudes. I think you got a lot to learn as you go through that. I did. I know that now looking back, I can say that, but at the time I thought I was smooth, but that was terrible. And so got a girlfriend probably 10th grade year that I really liked, right? And that lasted all the way up until like halfway through the senior year, where eventually your heart gets shattered into a billion pieces and you think it's all her fault, but turns out as you get older, it's mostly your fault.
Okay.
But you got to discover that as you go. And so definitely fell for that girl hard. That changed everything because her brother became my best friend. So friend groups go around that. And then also, like, if you're talking about the journey, I think the friend group thing is huge. Like, I think it's huge. I think it shapes so much of who you are. I think the people that I know that you hear it all the time and you say it, but it's true. Like, whoever you surround yourself with has so much, and your parents can be there to guide you if you have that luxury, right? If that's a thing in your life, parent, grandparent, whoever, you can have that's awesome. But at that age, your friends are the ones that are getting the majority of the influence in your heart. And just the behaviors, everything that manifests itself, I think. And so I became a lot of who they were in ways. And luckily, I was in a pretty decent friend group. So those people, we kind of journeyed together. I also had my youth group at that point, obviously, that I'm pretty heavily involved with, and fantastic youth pastor. Both the first one that I had that left my senior year, and then the guy who came after became my mentor and one of my best friends as we grew. And so I can't say enough about that. Like that changed my life. Like the trajectory of what I became was directly influenced by those people. And if I didn't have them, who knows? I'm not saying like God's call, His journey, like it would look different for every person. He can pull you out of whatever, but without them specifically, my journey just would have looked a lot different. I think I would have struggled through finding Him in my place and a lot of different things without that influence. And so the friends at school were pretty good, and then my youth group people, who a few of them ultimately became some of my best friends I still have to this day. through different journeys and whatnot. So yeah, definitely huge with I mean, there's so much wrapped into that. Those times, these times are so formative, and you're journeying through so much, and you have so many questions, and you don't even know it, and you have so many things that you're doing, and the actions that manifest themselves, and the big identity crisis of like, who do I want to become? What do I care about? What are my passions? Do I want to follow Jesus? Do I want to figure this out? Like girls, like, man.
Million miles an hour.
It's tough, yeah. It was tough, but you don't even know. You wake up and do your thing, day by day.
Interesting. All right, so you mentioned a call to ministry, to like local church ministry. Obviously, that means that somewhere before that point, you became aware that there was a God. You began to follow Jesus. Help us know how you were introduced to God, or your need to be rescued from sin, that kind of thing.
Sure, yeah. Parents were huge, obviously, because they're the ones who put you in a culture that allows you to learn and grow about something like that. Fully believe God's grace and mercy, and He could draw you from wherever, no matter what you're in or whatnot. But I definitely am thankful for the fact that I didn't have to struggle the way some do, to find Him, to learn about Him. The gift to be able to be there inside of the church and have quality people in my life because there is that balance of like mercy and grace in tough times, and learning that like not just judgment, right? It's like, yo, this is what it looks like and this is why. To be able to be told that I don't want you to do this because I love you and I care about your soul is a whole lot different than don't do this because God says not to, right? Because that's just moralistic, like judgmental. Okay, and eventually you grow into be like, I don't want that if that's what it is. You want something that's tangible that you can hold to, that links you to the cross. And so I had people like that all along the journey, my parents. And then, so I first probably became aware of it. I don't have a direct date for me. That's not my journey. Young, warrior God, young. Like I remember having a prayer, you know, what they would say is the sinner's prayer, which I'm all for. I don't think I think the big thing is people sometimes think that you can just say this prayer and it's like, oh, access to heaven. Not that it's bad. We need to ask people. We got to get that journey. We got to figure it out. We got to have a starting point, right?
Sure.
But it's so much more than that. That's just this access point to make sure people are comprehending what the cross is. And so, young at that point, though, the sinner prayer happened probably, I can't even, 6, 7, maybe. I remember the moment. I don't remember the age.
Sure, super young.
With mom being there, talking me through. Do you want to say it? Yeah, I'll say it. You repeat it. But then the journey starts.
Yep.
You know, and that's what it's about. Finding who Jesus is to you, the relational aspect. And that took years. I mean, and even to where I am today, it takes so much to grow into understanding what I believe is the gospel. I feel like you could be in church for years and miss the gospel. And so people who took the time to break that down, as I would say, I followed him while I was young, but like you said, you know, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th grade, it's more of a like, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is all my friends are here. This is like what I'm supposed to do. And instead of really trying to figure out the journey, the cross, the gospel. And so I probably floated through a lot of that middle school time. Not saying, I'm just saying, didn't have an acute understanding of the cross and the gospel.
Okay.
Until I'd say 11th grade, probably for me.
Was there a turning point there, or just sort of you came into maturity a little bit more?
I didn't have a specific moment per se. Just a lot of conversations with my one youth pastor, and then once, like I said, that guy who came my senior year he came as an intern before. He started to have conversations. He started investing. He started recommending books. I actually interned at my church 11th grade, and I went and did it again in 12th grade. So then when I started to get in there, and I started to have mentors who would be like, yo, read this book or talk to this person, and then services, right? In my youth ministry or conventions where we went away and did our Pentecostal thing, right? Which is awesome. I mean, I loved it. And you heard it and you're surrounded by people who believe the same. And so you're processing who God is to you. But it wasn't until like probably 11th grade where I started to have that comprehension of like the gospel at a deeper level, to be like the sacrifice of the cross, those deeper understandings like what it actually was, like sin, right? The deep understanding that this cost the most beautiful person, flawless, to give up everything. Like, he had to come. It was that or I'm going to hell. And he chose. So it was like that came later for me. And so I'd say 11th, 12th grade, and then 12th grade, Rob, my youth pastor, mentor, friend, he really put a lot of work into me. My friend Dan, that became my best friend as well. We just had a lot of services together. He helped me. He let me lead. He let me preach. So doing all that, man, just became this thing of trying to figure out, who's this Jesus to me? And that transformed my heart, right? That heart of stone to a heart of flesh is a real moment. I'm not exactly sure when that happens. I think it happens different for everybody. But it's that moment where I think the cross and Jesus become more to you than a symbol on a necklace, or it's like, that's my salvation. Like that's the person who died for. That's my substitutionary sacrifice. That's he gave me everything. That's everything. That's heaven.
It's your identity now, right?
And it does change your identity. It's huge. Such an identity changer, because it becomes like such an intricate part of you, and it's nothing to be ashamed of after that. It's like, because sometimes you could be like, I don't know. No, it's like, no, you should know about this. Like, this is real, man. Like, this is crazy. This is crazy how it all goes down, and your heart changes, and it becomes kind of fiery.
Yeah.
Up in there.
Now, God does different things in everyone's life, and He's got a plan for every one of the students and people who are watching this. For you, it meant a time serving in local church ministry. Beyond the internship, which and the relationships you had with the youth pastors, which were, as you said, monumental, right?
Yeah, huge.
How did you know, or how did you get a sense that that's what God wanted you to do?
Yeah. That was more of a moment in ways. I started that journey 11th-ish grade when I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I was like, marine biology is cool. Maybe I'll go do some architect work, something, right? Engineer, something, give me some money, whatever. I was thinking about going to Syracuse College, just different things, right? You're trying to figure out who you are. So the 11th grade, 12th grade, you're like, I got to figure it out. I got to figure it out my whole life, right? Feels that way, for real. And 11th grade, I went to a youth convention, which is Easter. It's always the Easter weekend for us. And it was a service that was just like, hey, do you feel this call to ministry in any way? And I'm not huge. I'm not huge on like, you have to have this call. So like, it's hard for me. My brain's practical. I'm just like, I'm not trying to get too in depth on it. But I was like, I think so. So they do this altar call thing, you go to the front, people pray for you. I didn't want all that. I just wanted God's direction in a way. So I went to my own space. I was just praying through it, man, and it hit me. It was a moment. It felt like it hit me. So 11th grade year, Easter week, Good Friday, that he spoke to me, and it was like the best way I can describe. Everybody gets me. No audible voice, nothing crazy. Right? Nothing like that. Something in me, in my soul, felt like it moved, and it was this moment where I was like, all right, God, like, you gotta, if this is something you want me to do, I don't want to, really. I don't want everything that goes, I want to know. Because I'm kind of lost. And after that, like, right after that, my youth pastor at the time, he's like, hey, I could use an intern. What do you think?
What a coincidence.
Right. And I was like, okay. All right. Little creepy, but I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? Could be a little more subtle, but I got you. Said yes. And that was it. Like, that's the journey that led me to do ministry, which I did full time. I went to Bible college, 4-year degree, did that, and then graduated and did ministry for 4 years, youth pastoring for 4 years.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was pretty crazy. It's crazy to think back on, actually, that moment and whatnot. And then, like I said, monumental to have that youth pastor. He left shortly after that, and then Rob came, and having him, I mean, just awesome. some of the best times of my life.
What would you say? So you've described it's quite a journey, right? Getting to 31, and you know, you and I'm 39, you're 31, and in our own ways, life is still coming at us.
Yeah, for sure.
We're still trying to figure it out, which I think is probably a myth that young people believe, that we somehow, because we do something for a long period of time, suddenly means we have some, life figured out. Not true.
Right.
We're still dealing with life as it comes at us, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the things that some of the tethers that keep you centered on your relationship with God? How do you stay grounded in all that?
Sure. Yeah, and it's tough, and I definitely want to reiterate that I'm not sitting up here as some ideal picture of what a Christian should be or anything like that. My journey is messy. It's got its flaws. It's still messy at times. Following Jesus is hard. It's the best. It's the most life-giving. It's the funnest. It's the most thrilling. And if you don't feel those things in your journey, I just think it's probably because in ways you're missing things, which is okay, because it's hard. It's hard to commit sometimes. It's hard to battle with sin on a daily basis and sometimes feel like you're losing. And so I don't want any student to ever feel like I got it all together, or that they can't come to me with issues, because I want the real raw version of people. I think it's hard. I think it's easy to go into, and I felt this, going to churches over and over again and have a mask up and give me the good, beautiful, painted version of what you think I want from you.
Right.
So that you think I'll be proud of who you are. But I want to know the sin, if you're willing, I want to know, what are you struggling with? What are the issues? Because that's what we got to get to in order to get closer to Jesus. And I think it's easy to get into church habits at times, and that's just part of the culture at times. It's good leaders are doing, we're doing our best at times, but I want that, right? Because I don't want them to think I'm perfect. As much as I can share, I'll share with a student. That it's I'm not perfect. Don't look at me as, I still got sins, I still got ugliness, I still got scars, battles, and everything. And I'll touch on this before I hit your question real quick, that another thing that I've recently felt is that I want to give people applause for the battle, right? As best as I can. Don't justify sin ever. That's not biblical, right? Repentance is huge, knowing the sin and repenting and growing towards Him. But if somebody struggles through a battle, like a vice, an issue, Paul addresses it, right? In Corinthians says, I got this thing, and it just keeps clawing at me over and over. And I'm like, God, take it away, God, take it away, God, take it away. And He's like, no, I'm not. I'm giving it to you. And I don't know what it is. And I'm not saying it's
right.
But He says some type of issue. And He gave it to him to keep humility in his life. And He says, my grace is sufficient for you. So I want the kids to understand that they come to me, anybody. I'm not perfect. And two, Jesus is. I want you to love Him. I want you to serve Him. I want you to go to Him. I want you to know the grace is available in your ugliest moments. The ugliest. I feel grace is the most powerful at the ugliest moments. It's the definition of
It's
grace.
the most obvious, right?
But we
don't
see
it most clearly in the ugliest moments.
Facts. But we run from it sometimes, right?
Yeah.
When you're in it, you go, let me clean myself up. Let me make sure I get it all right. Because I'm not worthy right now. Right? You're not. We never were. That's the whole sacrificial thing. That's what Jesus is, right?
Yeah.
And so I want people to get that understanding of I'm proud of you if you're fighting a battle.
Right. Struggle actually implies fight,
Exactly.
which is different from just surrender, right?
Yeah. I'm not we don't want to ever just sit here and give in and justify. No, it's fine. Go for it. Do that sin area is fine. No issue. Because that's going to lead to some consequence that we don't want them to have. But you recognize it's sin. You're struggling through it. You're asking for prayer. You're battling. Bro, welcome to the club.
Yeah, right.
And I'm proud of you. Keep fighting. Don't get so discouraged by sin because that's the enemy whispering in you, right? Run to the cross. Run to the cross. Run to the cross. Run over and over again. Ugly moments, sinful moments, bad, broken moments. Run to the cross. It's our only hope. It's all we got. If you stop doing that, then you're going to feel overwhelmed and broken by it. So, a few things I do in my journey to try to do that.
Sure.
Surround myself with people who are on the same journey as me, who I believe in, who are wise, who love Jesus, and who push me closer to Him. That's huge. The moments I struggle in my devos and my prayer life, which is often, I should do better. If I'm not on top of those, life's harder. It's a fact. Some of that's a season right now for me. It's real. It's tough. It's not easy. I don't want to do devo sometimes. I don't want to pray sometimes. And it makes life heavier.
Yeah.
It's heavier, right? And so those are huge. I would say as much as I can, those are huge tools. Like, they're the biggest things we have, right? The spoken word of God, communion with Him. Like, if you're not doing those, like, I don't know, like, it makes sense that we're showing. And I'm talking to me.
Yeah,
Talking to me.
I hear you.
And then I also I love personally podcasting. Huge for me. Find people that I respect, that I love, and just let them pour into my soul the best I can. I'll listen to it whenever, road trips, anytime. I listen to a lot of podcasts, which isn't a solve-all. It's a lot of information without a lot of
direct application, right?
Without, you're not going out and doing it per se. No practical application in it per se. You got to apply it, but still, it feeds my soul in ways. This scriptures getting into me, those types of things. So, conversations, community with friends, man.
You have said over and over in this short time the inputs in your life, from people to God's word to just praying, listening to for the direction of God, all that kind of stuff. And you've really highlighted for us the importance of what we're feeding ourselves and all that. And that's a good word. I also really appreciate you saying that it's not a perfect journey, right? Even today, not a perfect journey. But to see God's faithfulness through all of it. Absolutely. And it's really encouraging to hear the continued struggle, but the continued leaning on and dependence upon God. Is there like a passage in the Bible, a verse, something that has been really helpful for you over the years, or even right now, based on what God is doing in your life right now? Is there some truth in God's word that you're clinging to these days?
So in Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, Paul writes, and it's always been one for me, and I cling to it often, for this light and momentary affliction is producing for us a weight of glory that far outweighs it all. So we look not to what is seen, for what is seen is transient or disappears, but what is unseen is forever. I believe eternity is coming. I want souls with me. I want friends with me. I want people who I know don't know Jesus. I want them with me. And I love the beauty of the passage because, and it touches on Revelations where Revelation where he talks about, I'm going to wipe away every tear, right? And in the Jesus Storybook Bible, I love it. A little shout out. It says in that, about that passage, it's basically Jesus makes everything sad come untrue. And that light and momentary affliction being produced for glory makes my soul rest in the fact that I don't struggle for nothing. When I fight the battle, it has purpose. When I'm hurting, the tears, the struggles, the prayers, the pleading with God, please, I don't want to be this person, and then I'm that same person the next day, right? But I'm pleading, and I'm sure this light and momentary affliction is producing for us a weight of glory, weight implying that eventually, like, we're going to be measured in it, and to the same degree that you struggled. So if it's ugly now, if you're struggling through now, hold tight, because he's actually, through the cross, produced something so beautiful to the same degree that you struggle. On the opposite side, when eternity hits, it's all going to make sense. And you're going to appreciate the pain. It's going to produce something beautiful. And that's always linked my soul. And the fact that it links to heaven, and me knowing, like, this is why I want to tell people about the beauty of the cross. The cross and everything that it implies. One thing, Jesus' life being just as important, that's the one thing I feel like I missed for years. Like, his life. We focus on the death sometimes, and you miss the life. He lives for you. The perfect life that you need, the way he goes 33 years, in Hebrews says he struggles in every way, he's tempted in every way, yet without sin. Why is that important? Because that's the gospel. He's different. You don't just need an example. I learned eventually, right?
Right.
You need a substitute.
Right.
Somebody to live for you. And Jesus does that for me. He takes everything, and every time I made a mistake all through my journey, he didn't. And then at the cross, 2 Corinthians 5:21, God made him who knew no sin to be sin, so that we may be perfect righteous. The great exchange.
Yep.
Like you get all that ugliness he takes and gives you his life. That's why the life's important, because I need it. And then I get to heaven and it's like, yo, why should I get in? And he's like, and I'm looking and God's judging me in this moment, right? Why should I let you in? Was your life good? And I'm like, it wasn't, but it wasn't my life. The moment of salvation happens, you believe in the cross, you get Jesus' life for yours. Perfect, righteous, holy. That's what God sees. That's crazy.
Awesome.
It's crazy. So yeah, I don't know. I love Jesus.
I appreciate it. It's obvious.
I do.
And really thankful for your time.
I do. Same. Nice hat.
Thank you. Learn from the best.
My name's Luke, and this is my story.
What a great time. We have learned so much. And honestly, it would be so fun to go back through the last few weeks' videos, including tonight's, and just watch the hand of God through the lives of each of the people that we have heard from. This has been their story, and it has been so awesome. I am so curious to know, and I know all of our leaders are curious to know, what's going to be your story?